Welcome to our first ever episode of Volume 2 of The Geek Lounge.
And welcome back to us, because we're back.
That's right. That's Luis Latore, and I am Adam Smasher.
We're doing well. We're starting off pretty good. You guys can follow us on Facebook at The Geek Lounge and on Twitter at Geek_Lounge and kind of join the conversation. Maybe let us know what you think about our show, our brand new show, our Volume 2.
That's right.
It's been a long time.
It has.
Since we've been back. It's been like, what do you say, 2 years?
Almost, I think, yeah.
Almost
I'd have to
yeah.
fact check that, but
in 2 years, I think I've seen the entire series of Futurama 3 times. Because we've been trying to get all this together, but we've had a lot of free time on top of work and things like that.
And hopefully you've been catching us over at Geeks Are Sexy on our little mini segment.
Oh yeah, on WCOBM.com.
That's right.
Yep. I know what it is. We get a mini segment and we just kind of talk about whatever we want. So
that's true. That's true.
This is so our new show has got a new sort of format. It's a little different from our old days, but it's still kind of familiar, right?
Yeah.
Is that the best way to put it?
Familiar? Yeah, that's a good way.
Familiar? Yeah. So 2 years. We've been gone 2 years. What have you been up to? 2 years.
A lot of video games, a lot of alcohol, a lot of sleeping. I went and searched myself, traveled to the Himalayas.
Yeah.
Encountered a whole
I didn't
group
see you
of
there.
Yetis.
I didn't see you there. I was
in
Namda Parbat. And I didn't see you there.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe you didn't go there.
I was on the eastern side.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, that's probably what it was.
Had to find myself,
Sure.
all the usual things.
Oh, yeah. Besides what the work we're trying to put into this thing.
Spent some time in an Indian prison.
Oh.
Yeah. Things like that.
What did you learn in the Indian prison exactly?
That you don't want to go to an Indian prison. No, in all seriousness, just honestly planning for this.
We've been doing a lot of planning, a lot of waiting, just kind of chomping at the bit to get back.
Yeah, and
I'm just super excited to be here. Hopefully, when this goes up, it'll go over well with everybody.
That's right. Yeah, and I know we wanted to do it right, and that's part of why it took a little longer than we wanted, but that's okay. That was a good thing.
It is a good thing. And also, of course, we have our 2 other shows, which are their own thing later on.
Very soon.
Yep, very soon. The only thing I've been doing is, like I said, I think I've watched Futurama 3 times in 2 years. And
it's not a bad thing.
No. And I've just been brushing up on my karate murder.
Excellent.
So I went to Namda Parbat to study the sacred art of karate murder.
You did tell me about that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the martial art of martial arts.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Heard that.
Yeah. So I'm pretty deadly. I don't want to toot my own horn, but toot. These things at the end of my wrists are lethal weapons.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then put them down. Why are you holding those things?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Everybody's okay. Everybody's cool. Nobody's dead. All right. That's cool. Seriously though, I like you said, we've been doing all this.
Yep.
I've been working on a bunch of other things, and then of course we've been working.
Yeah.
Trudging along at our job.
We've been paying bills, as they say.
Oh, yeah. So, like I said, look for new shows that are coming up that we've worked really hard on. Please enjoy them.
Very true.
We hope that you like them.
You want to throw out some titles right now? Or
yeah, you want to just do it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, not at the same time? Not at the same time? I ruined it. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's real quick. Let's just run them down. Let's talk about your show first.
All right. My show is going to be called The Pitch.
Which, by the way, great show.
And we both created
great idea
it, so it's not my show. I just happen to be the one producing it and putting everything together. But we both created it. And basically, we're going to get 3 or 4 people, and we're going to kind of throw out an idea for a movie script. And then we're going to run with it. And as crazy as it gets is as crazy as it gets.
Wow.
And when we tested it with 2 different topics so far, it's been really funny. And the amazing thing about it that when we listen to it later or think about it later, it's still funny. And that's the important part of that.
That's how The Onion does stuff, isn't it? Don't they? They come up with a headline, and then if it's still funny a few days later, that's the headline they kind of go with. Yeah. It's a good idea. It's a good formula.
Yeah, and hopefully it's gonna make some really interesting scripts that Hollywood will probably steal. I'm okay with that.
As long as they give us the credits, as long as they know that they got the original story from the pitch.
Yeah, that's right.
Then I'm fine with that. I can't wait to be on there. I think I got a good one. I think I got a really good one, guys.
Cool. Yeah.
My show is called The Good, the Bad, and the Unwatchable.
Right.
Which is a review show for straight-to-DVD movies, because we've all seen them.
And there's a lot of those.
There's a lot of them.
Of varying qualities.
That's true. You go to any of your retail stores, and of course you see them there, the mockbusters.
Yeah.
Just the weirdest stories. And what a lot of people don't realize is that straight-to-DVD is a necessary thing, especially for people
nowadays,
for people who are trying to break into the industry that don't really have any other means. Sometimes straight to video is the only path that you can actually take. And some of them do well.
Yep.
Most of them do not.
Yep.
But like when you get together with your friends to watch a really crappy movie, it's fun.
Yeah.
So hopefully it'll be fun to talk about, despite the fact that you'll probably be watching it by yourself.
And, I mean, isn't the idea too, like, it's kind of like playing poker. Sometimes you're going to get a good movie.
Yeah.
Whoever the guest is, they may get a good movie. They may not get such a good movie.
No, they may not. Hopefully when you're on, you get a better movie. Because I know your track record on movies. You're big on walking out on movies that are terrible.
Me? Yeah.
I don't want you to walk out of
very few have I ever walked out.
I don't want to give you a bad one and you end up walking out of your house. That's what I don't want.
Yeah.
So I'll have a bunch of guests. I'll have about two people every show, and then we'll just we'll talk about the movie for that particular week.
Cool. Yeah.
So hopefully you guys will enjoy those shows, and we'll have more on the way as we continue on. A lot of stuff that we've been working on to put up, and hopefully we can refine it, and it'll be...
Yeah, and I know the pitch is going to be like this now. I think your show, but correct me if I'm wrong. The pitch, it's not going to be the same three people. You're going to get a lot of the usual people, but they will change occasionally. You'll get the same people sometimes, but it won't always be the same three. Is that the same for yours as well?
Kind of. I mean, we'll probably have a lot of repeat guests. I'll try to get different guests when I can. But
yeah, exactly.
You'll probably get a lot of the repeats, maybe in different combinations.
Exactly, and that's what I was going. I know that's what I was going for.
Yeah, maybe you'll get some familiar faces. If you listen to us over at our when we did our first podcast, you might hear some familiar faces from that. So hopefully that'll go well. People will be like, "Oh, hey, it's mystery guest."
Yeah.
So please look forward to those, and of course we'll make more stuff available as we refine it.
That's true.
A lot more. So
yep.
Okay, so let's take a break. You want to take a break?
Yeah,
let's take a break real quick, and then we'll be back with our very first guest.
That's right, and we've had him on the show before.
We have had him on the show before,
right.
But he's actually been working for 2 years as opposed to what we've been doing, which is almost nothing. Ken Lamug is here, and he'll talk to us about what he's been working on and all this other crazy stuff. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right.
It's a little scary when you see the sign. You picture it hairy and quite mean inside your mind. So try your luck and open the gate.
And we're back. And Ken is here with us. He was here before, actually, but he was very quiet.
Yeah,
very polite and patient.
Thanks for having me.
Very nice.
Right. Thank you for putting up with our crazy world stories, our adventures.
Actually, I had a question about that.
Yeah.
Now,
Sure.
when you went back east, did you have to carry a poisonous flower and go up the mountain?
A white one, actually.
White. It was a white lotus.
Right.
That's right.
It was
yeah.
a white
Okay,
lotus.
there you go.
That's how I belong to the group now. That's
Okay.
the group that taught me karate
Makes
murder.
sense.
So.
All right.
I don't know how you found out, but I don't want to have to kill you. But that depends on the council. So
He may also be a member of the White Lotus.
Oh, that's true. I'll find out when I ask them. I'll give them a phone. I'll give them a phone call. They all have cell phones.
They got phones up there?
Oh yeah, they got cell phones. You won't think they did. I didn't take mine, but then they pull them out. They're on Yelp. It's weird.
All right.
Signal was good. It's up there anyway. So
All right, Ken. So we've had you before, but back then you only had a couple books out. You only had, I believe, a box story and...
yeah, I was working
Talbot
on
and Toluca, right?
the Kickstarter for Talbot Toluca back
Yeah.
then. So
Yeah, that's right.
I finished that and was successful. And now I got a few more stuff.
I was going to say, it looks like things have been good to you because now I see a stack of books, and that's awesome, actually.
Again, the difference between a person who's been working for 2 years and then like us.
Us schlubs, yeah.
Yeah, at work. It'd be a great idea. Write it down. And then,
Yeah. That's very cool. So a box story, which we did talk about before, but this is a great little book. Why don't you tell us how that one got started?
Yeah, so this is a children's book. It's a picture book, so it talks about kind of creativity, inspiration, imagination. So it's good for a younger age audience.
It is, and I'm flipping through it, and the artwork's really cool, really comfortable, colorful, and and just the idea of using the box for different things.
Yeah, and this was my first picture book, and I was kind of getting warmed up, getting started, trying to figure my way in. So you can see from all these books the progression, and I have so many different styles, so it's just so varied. And I try, depending on what the project is, depending on the mood, I could change my style and try something new.
Yeah.
So this one is definitely geared for a younger age group, and a lot of people really like this book. A lot of teachers buy it for their students too. So
very cool.
It's very very inspiring to hear feedback from that. Hey, I got your book, shared it with my my students, and like, wow, that's pretty cool.
That is awesome.
That sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Very cool. So box story.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's a good one. And then of course we'll talk about the comic book one in a little bit. Let's go to The Tall Tales of Talbot and Toluca.
Talbot Toluca.
Talbot Toluca.
Sorry.
Talbot Toluca.
Now, this was the successful Kickstarter that you had, right?
Yep.
Yes. So this one started as a Kickstarter. Yep. It's basically the group of friends who discover a secret lab underneath their school, and they have to save their science professor who gets zapped into different dimensions.
Why is this not on Nickelodeon?
Yeah, something, yeah.
And the cool thing about it that I always like, and it's a big thing for parents, is it has puzzles. It has Where's Waldo elements into it, mazes. So the kids are doing stuff. They're interacting with the book and not just reading it. So that's
very cool.
Yeah,
actually.
it's very cool. I remember that.
It's like an old school iPad. That's pretty awesome. It's like an iPad, but like a book.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's cool.
And it's cool because it's almost a comic book style format, but then it's not.
Yeah,
it's
a
mishmash. And it's just like the pictures and the colors are, and I think we actually touched upon this on the show a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Was just. They're so rich and there's so much to look at, which meant that you put a lot of effort into this.
Big, elaborate splash pages, people. They held nothing back. These are great looking
These are
books.
beautiful, yeah.
So, it spent so much time in those spreads. And, that's why for the second book, I was thinking about, maybe I'll not do that for this one. I'll just go straight into the story. So this one, the second one, another Tall Tales, but it's basically they go camping and then they meet this alien and they have to help him get back to his home planet.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So this one started as a webcomic and I compiled everything, kind of put it together. Yeah.
This one just came out, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It just came out, and my 11-year-old son helped me color this one. So
very cool.
Pretty excited
cool.
about that. Yeah,
very cool.
Learned Photoshop and
nice.
Got him to work on that. So
that's great.
And the first one is The Tall Tales of Talbot Toluca: Quest for the Ore Crystals, which we did talk about a couple years ago.
Yeah. Yep.
And now we have The Tall Tales of Talbot Toluca: The Legend of the Golden Turtle.
Yep.
Which looks very cool. I love the art. Actually, the colors, they're.
Did you do a
nice.
Kickstarter for that one, for the second
This
book?
one, I didn't do a Kickstarter because I could just easily. It was started off as webcomics, so obviously content is there, and I just did a print on demand online, so it's on Amazon and everything.
Very cool.
Yeah. So there was a following already there. Just get it out, basically.
Now, let me ask you a question about Kickstarter. I've heard this from a lot of people, but not anyone I know personally. Once it goes up. Like how does that make you feel? Like once it's up, once it's ready to go, are you nervous? Is it nerve wracking?
It is definitely nerve wracking. You just refresh that page.
You're just checking it every few minutes, right?
Right. How come nobody's contributing to the campaign and getting the word out? It's basically a job, another job.
Yeah.
If you do that. So, and a lot of people expect, hey, once I put it up on Kickstarter, that there will just be a flood of contributions and things like that. But a lot of it is you have to put the work in. It's a lot of your own resources to get people to help you out. So
it's that old adage of you gotta spend money to make money, huh?
Yeah,
a little bit.
Not money, then it's time. Yeah, for sure.
So it's all over, and then what? Just like a wave of relax, just tranquility, like right afterward. Like as soon as it gets funded, you're happy and
right now it's like okay, now I have to get to work.
I was going to say then the real pressure comes, right?
Right. Now, you've got these people who've committed to you. Now you've committed back, so you gotta do it. So and the good thing about it is a lot of the work was already done.
That's good.
You don't have to start from scratch. And, I didn't get a crazy amount of people, because I think the pitfall for Kickstarter as well is some people, they don't anticipate the success. So if they do succeed, now they have to fulfill a ton of products to ship out, and shipping and costs and things like that.
So it's not just a waiting game. I mean, you have to be completely ready for when you get funded.
Yes.
You got to do the numbers that you are breaking even at least.
Well, I just realized that's a lie. I did not. The other person I knew who did a Kickstarter was you. That's right.
That's
you
true.
also did one, and same thing. About the
two
same
of
thing.
them.
Yeah.
I can't really talk about mine.
No. That's fine. That's okay. But just the feeling, I mean, it's pretty much the same.
Like Ken said, it's honestly, once it ends, it's like you're happy, but then 30 minutes later, you're like, oh, I got a lot to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then like the real pressure starts.
Yeah.
That's how I felt anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, but Tal of Toluca is beautiful, honestly. The new one, the quality of the new one, I think, and I know you were talking a little bit about the quality before the show. The quality of the new one, I think, is just amazing. And I'm not talking about the art. I'm talking about the printing. The quality is just beautiful. Whoever you got printing is just beautiful. And then, of course, the colors in it, and of course you said your son helped you with those. I mean, the colors and the style and the flow is also really, really cool. Just very nice, yeah. And
I think I'm just, kind of getting better. And that's almost the reason why I haven't really done the origin story for this yet. Because I feel like, I'm not there yet to do the origin, So I'm still improving, still working on it. And that would be the biggest book probably would be the origin of
cool.
Talbot. So I'm excited about that.
All right, so before we talk about your new stuff coming up here, or one of it's already out, right?
Yep.
We're going to talk about your comic book stuff, which is you did with a gentleman named Greg Wright.
Yes.
And
the Monstrous comic books. So we have 4 issues out right now. They're all one-shots, all individual stories.
Yeah.
And it's a retake on Dracula, Frankenstein, the classic monsters in Europe. So we kind of did a steampunk version of it.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So these are with Source Point Press.
Okay.
You can get it on Comixology right now.
Oh, cool.
And they're actually taking it. They're an East Coast based, they're Michigan based company, so they hit up all the conventions over there.
Very nice.
And they're pretty active with that. So they're getting a lot of these books out, which I'm pretty excited about.
And you can learn more about Monstrous on www.monstrousworld.com if you're curious. The artwork is very cool. Very action packed, I see.
Yeah. The one, I think I remember this one right here because it looks like a.
Yeah,
it kind of looks like Mike. It kind of reminds of like Mike Mignola type art, like the way he did all the Hellboy covers and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely an inspiration.
Now you said these are all one shots. Are there similar characters in each one? Like, are there characters that tie the stories together? Or are they completely unrelated?
They're completely unrelated.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
So it all revolves in this world, the monstrous world. So different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, different stories from within that world.
Very cool.
And the next 4 that we're gonna do is we're planning on doing an actual series for that. So concentrating on full characters.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
cool.
In a way, this was kind of going to school for us. Hey, let's try and see what we can do here with these characters in this world and see if we're up to par.
Cool. And
so it's been well received. So yeah.
And you and Greg are moving forward with it, so that's really awesome.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
And I'm because obviously I've done independent comics as well. I love the covers, just very strong, simple.
Yeah.
The title pops out at you. It's easy to read. I mean, everything's there. So
yeah,
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Monstrous, cool.
Yeah. That is an all ages book, correct? Or
yeah, it is pretty much. There's nothing crazy in there, but yeah, your kids just have to like Frankenstein and Dracula.
There you go.
Like those characters, and
I would have loved those as a kid.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So
all right, so your new book here.
Yep.
Is The Stumps of Flattop Hill.
Stumps of Flattop Hill.
That is currently out digitally, got delayed in bookstores a little bit, right? Or you can order it online.
Yeah, it's on Amazon now. They've got a few copies in there, so they're shipping those out. It'll be the ultimate goal is to get everything in by the end of this month.
Cool.
Yeah. So
the artwork is gorgeous.
Yes.
Very beautiful. I really like the artwork in that book. I mean, you're great, but there's something about that one there that's kind of like
if you could kind of take some of the best of Tim Burton and some of the best of Edward Gorey, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I love your use of lines and tone, I guess, for lack of a better term. I mean, it's just really cool stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that as like a Guillermo del Toro like big studio movie or something. Like
Yeah,
that,
there you go.
Just with the kind of adventure that it is, and just this sort of setting. What sort of inspired you to do this one here? This book here.
And this is an all ages book.
Yeah, this is an all ages book.
Yep.
Yes, it is. So it's been a long time coming for this book. I started it around 2013.
Oh wow. Okay.
Actually, around that time, I finished it within a year. Anyways, I've been thinking of this idea for a scary story, and there's just this rhyme stuck in my head. And it was on a trip to San Francisco where I saw a sign that says Flattop Hill.
Okay.
And then once that stuck in my head, then I just kept, like on the drive, I was just like, okay, what's, and what can I say here? What's the rhyme going on? So it's a rhyming book. But I think it's in a good way. It reminds me a little bit about Vincent by Tim Burton.
Okay, yeah.
So it's inspired by that as well.
Look at this. I'm looking at a picture of a kitchen. And I know that that doesn't do it justice. I mean,
it's
just
it
the
looks
way
great.
the iron stove looks, and again, your use of lines and shading, and it's just really cool.
Yeah.
And it almost
And
has
this
a
is-
sepia, not really sepia though. That's more of a.
It's a little bit like it, yeah. And this is before I switched to going fully digital as well. So
okay.
Oh wow!
this is just some Prismacolor and
These are cool pictures.
Yeah, they're. It's a gorgeous book, man. I really like this book.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah.
Very
And
cool.
everybody talks about the combination of the artwork as well as how I lay out the text in there, because the text has some.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
definitely
on it
play
as
with
well,
the
so-
play with the layout of the text to accentuate what's
Yep.
going on in the story, which is very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a book that demands all of your attention
I think
to
this will
really
be-
sort of appreciate it. Yeah.
This will be really fun for Halloween type,
Oh yeah.
Oh
So
yeah.
I think
definitely.
that's where it'll pick up. So yeah.
And that is the Stumps of Flattop Hill. This is really cool.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here reading this book here.
Yeah.
Give me a moment, folks. I'm gonna.
Yeah, if guys have some time, check out thestumpsbook.com. I've got a trailer there for the book.
Oh,
and I have
okay.
somebody actually reading it.
Nice.
I've got the music going, so
Oh, wow.
it's almost like watching a movie trailer. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Here,
great.
let me try a line. She resisted, her neck twisted, her body weakened and felt lament.
Wow.
Yeah?
Wow.
That's just a great line,
Good.
though. That is a
good.
great line.
That's good. Yeah, that's great.
Dang, that guy's scary. Holy cow. I'm looking at this. He almost looks like a more horrific version of Aku from Samurai Jack.
Yeah.
That is really cool. Man,
Yeah, that's great.
the Stumps. I'm going to
Stump.
pick this up. And then we'll talk about the last one here, right?
Yep.
And this one's actually by Jennifer Weiss and Lauren Franklin, but you did all the illustrations in here. And I did mention this before the show, is it's very Edward Gorey.
Yeah.
And the actual story itself is
Yes, it's
Edward Gorey-esque.
It's a play out of the Gashly Crumb Tinies by Edward Gorey. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So this one is a parenting book. Talks about the
Not all ages, by
Yeah,
the way.
not in all
Not
ages.
for kids.
talks about the perils of parenting in alphabet rhyming form.
Yeah, there you go.
It's fun. I think parents will really enjoy it. Every time I've showed it to a mom, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I know exactly what's happening here."
And that book is called Hurts Like a Mother.
Which, oddly enough, will be available on Mother's Day.
On Mother's Day, that's
treat,
right.
Treat your mother right.
May 8th. Make sure you go out and get it, because this is a cool one. And it's a little one. And it is listed on back as a parody.
Yep.
And you had to do 26 pieces of art or a little more because of the covers or whatever.
Yes, just a little bit more. But
And if you're a fan of Edward Gorey, good stuff. Very good stuff.
yep.
If you want to become a fan of Edward Gorey, good stuff.
Yeah, if you don't know who Edward Gorey is, probably the best way is I don't know how you'd explain that. If you're familiar at all with the old Addams Family strip, Edward Gorey was a contemporary
Has
of
it Charles
Adams,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so their style was similar. I actually think Edward Gorey as an artist was better, though. He just did a lot more craziness. And this has those aspects to it, and I love it.
Yeah. I mean, he had over 100 books.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So it's kind of crazy. Yeah.
So, and if most people know him by the Ghastly Crumb Tinies, which, like you said, this book is an homage parody of.
Yes.
So that's very cool. Yeah, some of these are really good too. Like just really cool, and I can relate to them.
Yeah. Yep.
Very cool. Man, so Talbot and Toluca. Now, where's this one available? Did we talk about that? No.
That one's available online.
The Tall Tales of Talbot
all
Toluca.
Talbot Tolucas are online, yeah.
Very cool.
So.
And the Stumps should be available pretty much anywhere by mid to late April. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's awesome.
It'll work its way through all the bookstores. So I'm pretty excited about that. And, here in town, just go to my website, rabbleboy.com. I'm planning on doing book signings and things like that.
Oh, very cool.
That's cool. And, of course, Hurts Like a Mother should be out. When was it?
Mother's Day, May 8th.
Yeah, May 8th. Yep.
Very cool. And then Monstrous is in stores right now?
It is. It's available. And, if you're in town, for the Stumps of Flattop Hill, we have the original artwork.
That's right, yes.
That's right. At which library?
Whitney Library.
The Whitney Library, yeah.
And that's on Tropicana, just east of the 95.
Yes.
And those are going to be there all the way until the very first weekend of May, and then they're moving over to the Flamingo Library, which is just east of Maryland Parkway. And that is the original art for the Stumps, and the Stumps, the artwork in the book is awesome, so I'm going to definitely check that out.
That's really cool. How did it feel having your artwork up at the library for everyone to see?
Yeah, it looked really good up, seeing them all up there.
Yeah.
And, the reception was great.
Oh, good. Wonderful.
A lot of kids showing up, too, which is kind of funny. And just to see the reaction of the people going through the artwork and just seeing them, like, oh, my gosh. Some of it, you're kind of taken aback a little bit. You're like, oh, man, is it really that good?
It is. I'm telling you, it is.
When you're an artist, you've looked through this thing day in and day out. Yeah. You just have it up there like, okay, finally I got it over with and it's finished. But it's kind of humbling and it's nice to share it with everybody. So,
that's awesome. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, that's good stuff. How big are the original prints on these?
They're actually a little bit smaller.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So they kind of had to resize it and make it bigger.
Wow. I would have figured they were probably like 11 by 17 or something.
No, because these are, if you think about it, I use a 0.1 pen to draw. So to cross hatch an 11 by 17 would take a long time.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
Wow. So, that is crazy. Yeah. And of course, rabbleboy.com is where you can find
that's
all of this stuff.
That's my main website. I have it up there. I do blog posts on book reviews, photos, and things like that. Cool. I do a lot of art books. So as far as reviewing them, so I post it up there. A lot of people like to look through those, and I love art books for movies and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
And they can follow you Twitter at Rabbleboy.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's very cool, yeah. All right, you ready to play a little game? Ready for a game?
I am game for a game. All right, let's do this.
Since you focus on all ages books here, we're gonna do a little children authors game. This game, and we've played this before, not on our show, but we played this before on Geeks Are Sexy.
Yeah,
and it is called Actually, and that came from
College Humor.
Yep.
It was a video that they did. It was very funny. I figured it's a fun game for everyone to play. I don't think they'd mind as long as we gave them credit. So.
That's right.
But you can check out their videos on YouTube, and you can find the games.
So Actually, here's what's going to happen. Okay. I'm going to read a statement. Mm-hmm. And somewhere in that statement, there's an untruth.
All right.
And very, very pompously, you're supposed to push in the glasses that you do not have and say, actually, and then correct that statement.
Which, by the way, you do what I do. Just feel free to say it in the most annoying way. Like, actually, just to... that's kind of the point. It's
right. So, and we're going to test everybody's knowledge of children's authors. We're going to focus on 3 children's authors: Dr. Seuss, Sheldon Silverstein, and Maurice Sendak.
Oh, my favorite,
the legends.
Silverstein.
Yeah.
Oof.
So, all right. So, question 1: Dr. Seuss's real name was Theodore Seuss Geisel. He was born on March 2nd, 1904, in Springfield, Massachusetts. Dr. Seuss went to Dartmouth College in New Hampshire and later received his doctorate in child behavioral psychology.
Actually,
there
I think he was a doctor.
Correct.
Whoa.
Awesome. That's right. Dr. Seuss really wasn't a doctor. He used the doctor as part of his name because his father always wanted him to be a doctor.
I need to do that.
That was awesome. Yeah, that was awesome.
I need to put doctor in my name. Sounds like a good idea.
Dr. Ken Lamug.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it. Cool. All right, question 2. Dr. Seuss is credited as the first person using the word nerd in the 1956 book If I Ran the Circus. This one's a little harder.
Ooh.
Oh. I don't think I've read the book.
Yeah.
Actually, he used the word geek.
No.
I think he did use the word nerd, but I don't know what the book was. Yeah.
He was the first one to use nerd, but it was in the book If I Ran a Zoo in 1950.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it wasn't, he just used it to sort of be some weird animal. He just said, I would put geeks in something. Or nerds, I'm sorry. Now you got me thinking. A nerd from something, you know. Awesome. All right. Question 3.
Is that what was the...
Nerd. It was
nerd.
If I Ran the Zoo. It was published in 1950. So he
coined the word nerd.
He did. Yeah, he was the first one to use it, but
wow.
I don't know how that changed through the years and became what it became now.
Right.
All right, this is question 3. Shel Silverstein received his college diploma from the University of Illinois, where he graduated with honors.
That's tough.
Actually, he didn't graduate because he got kicked out.
Right. That
for
is
grades,
correct.
right? Yeah.
For grades. He had poor grades.
Wow.
Yeah. I love Shel Silverstein. He's awesome.
Yeah. And it's kind of important to note that it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
As long as you have a passion for something, you can be good at it.
Yeah.
Right? All right.
Even if you look like a drifter.
He did have a rough look about
him.
I mean,
quick story. Can I tell a quick story real quick about Shel Silverstein? My niece just turned 9.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd buy her a book. And I saw The Giving Tree and Where the Sidewalk Ends. And Where the Sidewalk Ends is my favorite book. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, I don't know where she is at, because I'm terrible at like the age of children and where they are developmentally. Like to me, I still think they, eat mushy food at 9. So I didn't know what to get her. So I was just looking at the books, and on the back of Where the Sidewalk Ends is like this really cool picture of him just kind of sitting out on a wicker chair, no shoes, feet up, with a guitar. It looks like an album.
Very late 60s, early 70s.
For a folk singer or something. Yeah. And then I look at the back of The Giving Tree, and it's like a straight-on profile of Shel Silverstein, just looking into the camera.
Like a mugshot.
Right. Yeah, and it is the weirdest thing that I have ever seen. It looks like he got caught for eating people. And I love Shel Silverstein. If he's listening, I love you. I think you're great. But that picture was like a little intense. It kind of helped me make the decision of what to get her, and end up getting her.
He is kind of a Renaissance man, right? He's done so many different
things. Oh,
yeah.
He's done a lot.
Yeah.
All right, question 4. The next 2 questions are about Maurice Sendak, because Where the Wild Things Are was my personal absolute favorite book when I was a child. Love that book. All right. In Maurice Sendak's book, Where the Wild Things Are, some of the wild things were named Carol, Bull, and Ira.
Actually, I don't think they have any names.
That is correct.
Oh.
They had those names in the film, but they did not have names in the book. And I don't know if you saw the film. I thought the film was amazing.
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't the kind of film I would watch over and over and over, because it does have some pretty, I guess, heavy emotional tones. But I thought it was an amazing film. I don't know. Did
beautiful,
you get to see it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So cool. And it really kind of captured the pain of being like 10-ish.
Yeah.
And some of the things you had to deal with, and that how adults always kind of dismissed you as being, get out of here, kid.
Yeah. What do you know? You better seen, not heard.
Yeah. And it's interesting to note as well that a lot of these writers during their time, that what they were working on were quite controversial. Like, the books that they put out. So now it's become the norm, and it's like, oh, this is a classic children's book. But back then, this was like parents wouldn't want their kids to read that kind of stuff, right?
I think part of it probably at the time was the fact that the books, even though they were meant for kids, they didn't really talk down to kids the way anything else kind of did.
Yeah, that's true.
I think so. Like
Very
if you
point.
read like Where the Sidewalk Ends, or like you said, all the heavy tones in Where the Wild Things Are. I mean, like I said, it sort of respected their intelligence.
Yep.
So I think they weren't used to that, but now it's like, make books smarter for kids. Dummies.
All right, question 5, the last question. Where the Wild Things Are was originally going to be titled Where the Wild Cats Are, and it was to be about Max's adventures with various types of cats. You laugh, but...
That would probably do well today, right?
People love cats.
Even the flaw in this statement isn't that far from what actually is true. Believe it or not.
Okay.
You look like you know this one.
No,
No?
I don't.
No?
I have not. No, I don't know. I don't know.
Actually.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
I know that it wasn't cats. It was something else.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Oh, you got it?
But I don't know what
Kind
it
of.
is.
Half of it.
What is it?
Horses.
Oh, okay.
It was originally meant to be titled Where the Wild Horses Are, and of course it would feature various types of fillies and fowls and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. But he went with Things, which I'm glad.
Yeah,
Right.
it's better. It seemed
More
like,
interpretive.
honestly, I mean, if I had to pick, I think I would go with cats over the horses thing. Like, if he was dead set on horses or cats, I think cats are a lot more whimsical. He would have gone with cats. That would have been better. But
Very true.
But Wild Things are so much better.
All right, cool. So one last time before we take a break, right?
Yeah, we'll take
So
one more
Ken
break.
Lamug, that's rabbleboy.com, and that is a common spelling, and you can find it on our website, and you can follow on Twitter at Rabbleboy. And the Stumps of Flattop Hill is available on Amazon right now.
Yep.
Tall Tales of Talbot DeLuca are also available online, right?
Online, yes, exactly.
Hurts Like a Mother will be out May 8th. And you are going to be here for the last segment, but we want to make sure we get this information out too. Hurts Like a Mother is going to be out May 8th.
Buy it for your mommy.
That's right. A Box Story has been out for a while. It is a very good, very simple, but the artwork is amazing, and it's just a great capture of the imagination, and that's available everywhere as well, right?
Yes.
All right, and then Monstrous comic book is in stores.
Yep.
And
Comixology.
and Comixology,
Yep.
yeah.
SourcePointPress.com.
Cool. All right, so
So we'll take a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. We're here talking with Ken Lamug, author. And what'd you have for him? I got...
all right. Well, I mean, we're going to have a conversation, I guess, for lack of a better term, if that's good with you guys.
Yeah.
So, obviously, most of your stories, or all of your personal stuff, is all ages.
Yeah.
Definitely kid-oriented, but looks like some good quality stuff. So, what were some of your influences?
Ooh, influences. It's kind of a mishmash
Yeah.
of different things. Growing up back in the Philippines, I was exposed to a lot of the 80s cartoons and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
I got into, my dad actually had this Betamax video camera, and I would do stop motion with Transformer toys that I had. I would make cardboard box cutouts of the backdrop, set it up that way. I think it was like a 5-second animation. It took me the entire day to everything.
I did that with clay,
Yeah.
3 minutes took 8 hours or something crazy.
My brother and I used to do that with figures. We made really simple. We didn't make a whole thing. We made really simple scenes, but yeah, it
takes a long time.
Takes a while, yeah.
Yeah. And
Very cool.
I was so into video games that are, I guess, the point-and-click games, adventure games.
Oh, yeah.
80s,
Okay.
90s, things like that. So those are a lot of my influences. My dad was very much into computers. So
Cool.
that's why I kind of, for the Talbot book, I kind of brought that video game aspect to it.
Okay.
Where you can interact and it's not just a regular book that you read. So
Cool.
Yeah, and just recently, and after all of that happened, life hits you and we moved countries.
Yeah.
Basically,
It's a big move.
Had to find a job.
a big ocean.
Had to help the family and things like that. So I kind of really stayed away for a long time
Yeah.
from doing anything creative, and it was just really towards around 2006. I kind of slowly got back, and that was through filmmaking.
Oh, cool. Very
So
cool.
we did a couple of feature-length independent film.
Oh, wow.
With a friend of mine. So
Where can we find those? We got to find those.
it's called Vegas Land. You can look it up. That's the big
Vegasland?
one. Yep.
Okay, cool.
It's this gangster type Vegas-based. Kind of a little bit like a Snatch.
Okay.
Tarantino-ish has that.
I'm going to name drop like you wouldn't believe. I'm going to show that to him and be like, that's Ken. He's my best friend. You guys don't know about Ken. My best friend Ken. He makes movies.
And the best thing that I got out of that is I got my name on IMDb. Check that
Nice.
out.
Oh, whoa.
Nice.
It's a life goal. That's my life goal.
Right.
There you go. Yeah.
So it was awesome working with actors.
Cool.
Learning how to film, that all this stuff. So I got into that, got into photography, and then that was when I didn't have kids. And then when you have kids, like, okay, I can't go out as much because a lot of these film shoots were late at night or different locations, traveling all the time. So I had to do something creative at home. So kind of got me back into illustrating and writing. So
very cool.
Yeah,
That's
so
very
a lot
cool.
of it. A lot of it is just relearning a lot of things, and I'm still very much a student. I got exposed to Edward Gorey, as you said, we talked about earlier, and I studied a lot of the different styles and things like that. So yeah, I'm still figuring things out.
Very cool.
Reading and trying to learn. Yeah,
very cool.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it seems like everybody wants to do, when they do like illustrated books and comic books, everybody seems to want to do these uber adult, like they want to take what comic books were and just make them for an adult audience. But you
pretty much a lot of the books are like that. Yeah,
but you went the other direction. I'm curious. I mean, it's awesome. Don't get me wrong, because I also want to do all ages stuff. I don't like that there's this focus on really ultra adult stuff.
Yeah, I don't think it's actually premeditated.
Okay.
There's a pre-planned through all this stuff. It's just something that I naturally kind of gravitate to.
Okay, cool. Very cool.
Yeah, when I work on a project, like for example, this year, I was planning on doing a couple of children's books. Because my goal was, okay, by the end of this year, I'll have a couple of children's book completed.
Cool.
By the end of February, I was working on something totally different. I was working on a comic,
Gotcha.
So it's kind of driven by emotions and mood and all these different things and what inspires you at the moment, basically.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I know, because I'm trying to get away from, I know, obviously I'm not nearly as far along as you are, but I want to focus more on all ages stuff.
Yeah.
Because to me, I always think of like the old Marvel comics,
I think part of that's probably a lot of the audience is the same audience they've had since they were a kid. And, I think they think we got to grow up with them too.
Right.
So all the stories have to be serious, and that's not the case.
Some of those stories were serious, though.
Yeah, but not, like I said, times change.
Yeah.
People change.
That's true.
The industry has to change if it wants to survive. And
that's true.
Right.
Well, and speaking of the industry, though,
yeah.
how is it surviving, growing with their audience? Well, there's other issues there, though.
Yeah.
But very cool. Yeah. So Stumps of Flattop Hill. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you said that kind of genesis of that was a train ride, right?
This was a trip to San Francisco. We were just driving the entire family, and I've had the idea because, as you see the title, the Stumps of Flattop Hill. It started off as a rhyme of anything that rhymes with hill.
Oh, okay.
So hill, rumor mill, all these different things. I was like, okay, something is happening on that hill. I have to figure it out.
Yeah, there you go.
So so it kind of came together, and I've always. When I got back into this genre, fairy tale genre, I guess, macabre genre, I was working with Underneath the Juniper Tree, which is an online magazine.
Okay.
And they catered a lot to this type of stories where it's kind of a horror, but for kids, scary stories for kids.
Okay, cool.
And I illustrated a lot of different stories with this style.
Okay.
So I was, at that moment in time, I was kind of stuck at this style, and I was practicing learning it, trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out my own stories with that style for it. So it kind of worked its way with the Stumps of Flattop Hill. So
that's cool.
Yeah, and as you've seen, I have 2 books with this style on it. So apparently, it's something that I'm pretty good at. And people like
respond
it.
Well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So. Yeah, that's one comment that I get all the time from a lot of artist friends. You're all over with you have so many different styles. I look at a new book that you created, and it's something else.
Yeah.
So I'm actually working right now on a different style. It's based mostly on it's a folktale, Filipino folktale about this boy. I called him Pedro, and it's about him and going into town, and he has to buy this cooking pot. And then he breaks it because the town is apparently infested by fleas, and one of the fleas bit him. So this is an old folktale, Filipino folktale.
Oh, wow.
So I'm kind of actually turning this into a revised story that I'm working on right now. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's a new one.
Very cool. And I mean, what are your goals? You hope to win the Cold Cut Award someday, or are you just doing it because you love it? Is it just pure love, or?
Yeah, I just want to stay busy. That's
there you go.
That's my goal. I just want to be working on something. I look at so many different artists, like we talked about Edward Gorey. He put out 100 books. I believe Maurice Sendak had like 44 books
Yeah, he
or
had a
something
bunch,
crazy.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, I'm so behind. I need to I need to keep working on stuff. You
It's
know,
never too late, right?
So yeah, it's whatever. And the good thing that I like about this is I'm varied as far as medium. I work on both comics. If the comic format doesn't work, then I can do children's book format. So whatever story format that I can switch to is is what I'll be working on. Yeah.
Cool.
So
you actually talked about a group here in Las Vegas that sort of you guys help each other out with children's books. Why
yes.
don't you go ahead and
So I'm part of the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators.
Very cool.
It's scbwi.org is the website.
Very cool.
It's a national organization, I believe international organization, and we have a chapter here in Las Vegas.
Cool.
So I'm part of the Illustrators Group primarily, and we meet the schedule, we post it up online, and we work on progressing whatever projects it is that we have. So from writing the story to thumbnailing it, like creating the actual finished book.
Very cool.
So we'll critique each other, give suggestions and things like that. So we all have our own projects, but we get together, we read each other's stuff, and then we, progress that, because the ultimate goal is really to get published, find an agent, that kind of thing. So we try to get it to the project to that point where it's ready to be accepted.
And I imagine it goes a long way so that as an artist or a writer, you don't feel sort of alone out there on an island, right?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think a lot of artists, and for me, for a long time, I think artists, we kind of go through the phases where, okay, we're stuck, we're just in our hole and we're working.
Yeah.
So being able to at least go out and share it with somebody and say, hey, what do you think of this? And getting good input, is a big thing.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any other groups you know of or you want to talk about? Or
That's pretty much it. I know there's a comic book group here in town as well that meets every other weekend.
That is true,
I've
yeah.
been going to that one.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, just kind of...
That's over at Cosmic Comics, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
Great store, by the way.
Great story.
Love
Yeah.
that place.
Yeah, so...
And every Sunday you can go in, and I think it's the Artist Comic Jam?
Or something
Something like that, yeah. But they're there every Sunday afternoon, so I think they're there today, actually.
Right. They're there for the entire day, probably.
Yeah.
And it's interacting with artists, and it's pretty cool to see what they're working on.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
That is
sounds
awesome.
cool.
So speaking of comics, how do you feel about comics? How do you feel about how comics are as a whole nowadays?
I've been exposed to comics kind of like late in my life.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, there was a comic book store by my school. They sold a lot of Image, because I believe a lot of the artists for Image were Filipino.
Yeah, actually.
So-
Will Spertasio.
Yeah. So it was pretty big back then, but going to school, I didn't have all the money to buy all that stuff. So I kind of got exposed to it later in my life as an adult, and I gravitate more to more adult content actually when it comes to comics.
Comics,
like
wow.
the darker stories, I guess. I would say so. Yeah, I think it's pretty exciting, but I'm pretty picky. I don't necessarily buy a lot of single issues. I would buy the trade paperback.
Yeah.
That's me.
It's so much easier, man. I try to go back to single comics, and it's expensive,
Right.
for one. And then, of course, there's chasing them down, especially if they're a very popular book.
And I think that brings up a good point. Yeah, as adults, you kind of tend to gravitate more towards the graphic novel format.
Yeah, I think that's the direction, and especially now that a lot of the comics are making their ways into, Barnes and Nobles and the bigger bookstores.
The bigger
book chains.
books, yeah.
They don't want to store the single issues. They'd have a book there with a spine and put it on their shelves. That's
I think that's better for casual readers too, because it's better to have one book with 6 issues of Deadpool than it would be to just have 6 issues of Deadpool.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I read this somewhere that a lot of people, they want a beginning, middle, and end to the stories, which is kind of what the trade paperback does.
Yeah.
Instead of a series where you're 100 issues later, when is this thing going to
Yeah. Yeah, no, I hear you. And speaking of that, in the digital age, I think what gets me, and I'm going to use Marvel Comics as an example. Are you familiar with the Epic Collection that they just
DC
launched
hater,
last year?
but whatever.
No, I'm
just kidding.
It's a negative on
No,
Marvel.
no,
now.
yeah.
Are you familiar with the Epic Collection? You know the Essentials, the old Essentials.
Okay.
They would put together 30 issues of the Amazing Spider-Man, let's say, but they
Right.
didn't color them. And then DC was the first to kind of break through where they'd put out their, I don't know if they're called omnibuses, like the Fourth World Series, and they put out these really beautiful full color. It's not newsprint, but the paper is almost like a high quality newsprint. I guess,
Oh,
but
yeah,
not
yeah,
quite
yeah.
as thin.
Yeah.
And The colors are just amazing, and they're $30 a book, right?
Right.
For 30 issues. Great way to market it, right?
It's $1 an issue.
And the DC did the good thing, right? They would put out, like, let's say the Fourth World Saga. They put out 1, 2, 3, 4. You'd get the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Marvel, I guess, they said, okay, we're going to start doing color too, and they did something called the Epic Collection. We're going to put, I think, 35, 40 issues out in one volume. It's going to cost $25, $30. Great idea, right? So issue 1 comes out of all their big titles. I think Avengers, Spider-Man, things like that. And then the next one's like issue 30. Issues 290 through 310. Like, what?
Right.
What? This is the digital age. Yeah. Why can't they just print on demand? Like, okay, how many people want this? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
We get like 600 people. Let's print them out. Send them out,
Well,
I would think that's possible,
What sucks
right?
about that, too, is there are people who just kind of want one of the books, and then there's people like me who I want everything.
Yeah.
I want every book. But it's hard because I can get 1, 2, 3, and then 4 is out of print.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a special
For whatever
issue in there,
reason,
or something is in there that makes it like a really special book, and now I don't have 4 in my collection.
Or whoever printed it said, well, people have been less interested as it goes along, so let's print less of those.
Yeah.
And then they have this high demand, but then they don't print anymore.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck?
I'm having that problem. I think it's Marvel, but I think I'm having that problem with Conan, Savage Sword of Conan,
yeah.
which I have like the first 6 like big books, which are they're great. I love reading them. And then 7's out of print, 8's out of print, 9 and beyond still in print.
Well, it's like me with Judge Dredd case files. I mean, I have 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Why don't I have 4, Luis?
Sorry about that, buddy.
He bought it out from under me.
I did. I'm glad I have it now.
Now it's out of print.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Nah, it's all right. But so I mean, graphic novels or collected trade paperbacks, trade editions, definitely the way to go, I think, for adults.
Oh yeah.
Especially for old stuff and new stuff. Mm-hmm. And like you said, people want a beginning, middle, and an end. Kids, maybe not so much. But how do we move forward, or how does the comic book industry move forward? Is there a way to recapture kids? Or is just video games and other external things just too pervasive for kids? I mean, can comics come back? Can they draw kids again?
I think. I mean, me personally, I would like it to. I don't think so. I think with the way technology is, probably not.
What do you think, Ken? Sorry,
kids are like reading so much less.
Yeah.
Nowadays, that it's just even for them to pick up a comic book, it's
tough.
It's tough. Yeah.
Right.
What do you think, Ken?
Well, I don't know if is it more of an issue of kids are not going. I mean, if you look at it, I think they're reading, but they're reading different kinds of books. They're reading manga. There's so much now out there.
Yeah.
So the U.S. industry might not be, picking up as much, but there are other industries that are doing well. So maybe it's a question of format, like what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I think as well, if you think about it, if we're trying to get kids to read, and I'm talking about trade paperback type manga type books, those are the ones that are probably more in libraries and things like that, right?
Yeah.
So it could be a combination of things, maybe. Because I know, like, the comic book store model, as much as I love comic book stores, I don't know if that's really viable, like it used to be anyway, at least not in its current format.
It's up and down so much, right?
Yeah, and I know when I spent my time working in a comic book store, I did my time. I was there. But I think what this really bothered me, and I know the owner, he just didn't care. And I'm thinking, like, we're talking about the future, man. But he didn't care. But kids would come in, and a lot of kids came in. And they came in with their parents, even little kids. And even their parents are like, I want to find them, because you have the movies out or the movies coming out. Yeah. I want to find them Captain America. I want to find them this. There was nothing that was meant for the kids. Nothing. There was a kids section, and I think at the time there was sort of a kids version of Spider-Man, and I think the Avengers, and that was it.
Yeah.
But, and this brings up a point you brought up earlier.
Yeah.
They're oversimplified, and they're for kids, and they're labeled for kids.
So there's a missing link here.
Yeah, and a kid's going to look at that and go, I don't want that Avengers. I want those Avengers.
Right.
Well, those Avengers are very adult, mature stories, and even say on there, teens 15 plus.
Wow.
And if you flip through them, it's like, kids ain't gonna
Even then, I don't think kids will get through a book like that. Just trying to read it, they just won't understand, and they'll get frustrated.
That's interesting you say that, which brings up another point. You know what the number one selling all ages book was when I used to work at the comic book store?
What?
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh yeah.
Here's what's important about
I did
that.
used to read Sonic when I was a
That
kid,
was
yeah.
the wordiest comic book I have ever seen. So
Really?
I don't think it is about actual reading.
Right.
These thought bubbles dominated pages.
They'll read it.
Yeah, they'll read it.
Yeah.
And I found that interesting. So I'm glad you brought that up because I was able to work
I think,
Sonic in
and
there.
I think as a parent,
Yeah.
you want those words.
Oh,
in there,
absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting too, but it's not a case of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Kids love that book. That book sold a lot. And I'm talking like from 7, 8, 9-year-olds all the way to like 20, 21, 22-year-olds bought Sonic the Hedgehog.
I used to read those books when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog. They've been around for that long.
So what is Marvel and DC missing? Or they just don't care. And I know DC is getting their butt kicked lately because Image for the first time is consistently beating them month to month.
I mean, maybe their focus is just on Hollywood now.
Maybe, yeah. And
They are both owned by major studios. Disney owns Marvel, and
DC's been owned for a long time by Warner Brothers,
owns,
yeah. But I mean, what the heck? How
Well,
does that change?
I think the challenge probably is for indie creators to fill in that gap.
That's for sure.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Maybe the answer is not through the big industry. You know, the big guys. It's
And that is interesting you say that because using Image as an example, I mean, for the first time ever, they're consistently beating
right.
one of the big publishers, which is DC, and it's going through and it's using independent creators and independent stories that are unrelated to anything else.
It could also be that thing that the studios do anyway, where they're sort of afraid to kind of venture out in anything different.
I'm sure that's part of it.
They market these books towards men 18 to 34.
And they protect their
They have
protect
so
their-
many untapped markets like women, like children, and they just like, well, whatever. They don't. Girls don't read comics. Kids don't read complicated comics. We're gonna get people like us to read comics. That could be part.
Well,
of
and
it.
I think that you hit on a great point, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's probably why as well. If you think about it, a lot of these traditional publishers are opening up graphic novel divisions within their company. Like, for example, Scholastic, they have graphics.
Oh, wow.
And they do trade paperbacks, but it's all ages. So I think
Interesting.
they're filling in the gap.
You and I need to talk.
Plus, they're in the market already. They have their books in libraries. You know, they do their book fairs and things like that.
that's
And
true,
They
yeah.
can get it in there quite easily, and they can sell those things out.
It's nice to know that they're using that Harry Potter money for good use.
well,
Because you know they made a ton of money off her.
I know. Even now, Scholastic. One of my favorite comic books was Bone. Even now, I read it as a kid, and even now, it's still one of my favorites. But I know they have their own books, their own Scholastic books for kids to read.
My nephew knew of
Bone
that
and stuff
because
like
of
that.
Scholastic.
Yeah.
So
Dang, Ken.
they're filling in the gap, probably.
There you go. And you're probably right. That's how the industry's evolving. Now, my point I totally forgot, but that's okay. That's okay. I got excited about your point. That's perfectly awesome. But it's interesting, man, how the market's changing. And I think you had said something too, to go along with what you said, is they're so focused on not I guess betraying their property or not harming their properties. And I am talking about like DC Marvel with the movies and the movie universes and their comic books. That it almost seems like they're afraid. I don't know if it's fear, but they almost seem like they're unwilling to just do anything different or allow it to be anything different.
Right.
And I know you had said this, Luis, before. I don't think you said it now, but we had talked about this before, was that it seems like every time there's a new movie out, they're going to shift up their publications to sort of match what's going on in the movie.
Yeah.
Right.
So people are reading and go, oh, what the heck? Everything just changed. Why did it do that?
So is it almost like the movie is their primary focus and the comics or everything else is kind of just like a merchandising part where we can just sell this because of the movie now?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Well, I mean, I think it was you who said this, was that when you were working at the comic book store, whenever a movie would come out, the sales for that particular book would go
spike.
up or would spike. Yeah, at least for a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like Captain America comes out, well, all the Captain America books sold this month and the month after when the movie was released.
And then went right back to nothing.
And then right back down. Yeah.
So I guess it became an event,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's sad because I just remember walking into 7-Eleven as a kid with my lunch money and saying, I don't need to eat today, and buying like 4 comic books.
I used to go to a gas station to buy my comics
Back in the day.
before I went to comic book stores. But that's way back.
And now the only place to get them is comic book stores. Like you said, they have trades in bookstores. But as far as just going down and getting a comic book, you just can't. But like you said, maybe that's just not the way of the future. because to tie a few things together, Bone, my nephew knows about Bone, and he's, 15 now? 14, 15? And he was a huge Bone fan when he was little because it was in the school library, not because it was in a comic book store.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Scholastic. Fill in the gap, like you said, Ken. That's awesome. Man. Cool. Well, we're beating up the comic industry. We don't mean to, but that's okay.
It's an industry we love.
Anything else you guys like to bring up, or you think we're winding down here?
I think we're about winding down here.
Cool.
We're good. Yeah.
All
right, one last thing again. Rabbleboy.com. You can find a link on our website. That is everything you want to know about Ken. Okay, probably not everything you want to know. But if you're interested in any of his works, Rabbleboy.com. And, of course, the Whitney Library on Tropicana just east of just east of 95, up until the very first weekend of May. All the original artwork for the Stumps of Flattop Hill is found there. And check it out. And that's moving to the Flamingo Library after that. I know I'm going to check it out because that book is beautiful.
Guys, it's beautiful artwork. I can't even. I mean, honestly, it's really great artwork. It's definitely worth driving down there to see.
Cool. And again, his other books, the Tall Tales of Talbot Toluca, Book 1 and Book 2. Then you also have Monstrous Comic Book Series. That is going to become an ongoing series, and then Hurts Like a Mother out on Mother's Day, May 8th.
Buy it for your mammy and your Grammy.
And that one is not all ages, but buy it for your mammy and Grammy, like Louise said. And then that's it. So we appreciate you having on, Ken. Thank you.
You're also on Twitter. People want to reach out to you at
Rabbleboy.
Rabbleboy.
Yep.
So please do that.
Tweet me.
There you go.
Thanks so much, Ken.
And we plan on seeing Ken again because we're friends with Ken too, and he's awesome. So.
He's our best friend, you guys. You don't know
because he's on IMDb.
He's on IMDb, and he's our friend.
That's right.
All right, thanks a lot, Ken.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
Comeback show, I guess.
That's it. And we'll see everybody next week.
Thanks so much.
Bye.